What happened? The UK Home Office announced on Monday, July 14, 2025, that it will resume processing asylum and settlement claims from Syrian nationals. This ends a temporary pause that began in December 2024. Why was there a pause? The pause was initiated after the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria. The Home Office stated that this was a necessary step because there was no stable, objective information available to make robust assessments of risk on return to Syria. Essentially, they needed time to evaluate the new situation on the ground. Why is it resuming now? The Home Office has now published 7 new country policy and information notes, PINs, on Syria. These updated guidance documents are intended to provide caseworkers with sufficient, accurate, and evidence-based information to make decisions on Syrian asylum claims. The Minister for Border Security and Asylum, Dame Angela Eagle, stated that the Home Office has acted swiftly to restore the system now that accurate assessments are possible. What do the new guidelines say? The new PINs cover various aspects of the situation in Syria, including the general security situation, the humanitarian situation, risks for returnees after the fall of the Assad regime, risks for Alawites and actual or perceived Assadists, risks for Kurds and Kurdish areas, issues related to military service, risks for religious minorities. Notably, the updated guidance indicates that opponents of the former Assad regime are unlikely to be at risk upon return to Syria solely on that basis. Religious and ethnic minorities, including Kurds, Christians, Druze, and Shia Muslims, are generally unlikely to face a real risk of persecution or serious harm from the state, and the onus is on the person to demonstrate otherwise. Risks from military service evasion or desertion are generally not considered severe enough to warrant protection, especially given the new government's abolition of conscription and announced amnesty. However, Alawites and perceived supporters of the former Assad regime are still considered to be at risk of persecution. What does this mean for Syrian asylum seekers in the UK? End of limbo. The prolonged pause had left thousands of Syrian asylum seekers in limbo, unable to work or move forward with their lives. The Refugee Council welcomed the resumption, highlighting the fear and uncertainty faced by these individuals. Case-by-case assessment. While the updated guidance sets a new framework, the Refugee Council and other advocates emphasize the critical need for each asylum application to be assessed on a compassionate, case-by-case basis, acknowledging that the situation in Syria remains highly unstable. They stress the importance of protecting those who would face extreme risk if returned. Potential for more refusals. Given the content of the new guidance notes, it is anticipated that the Home Office will now be aiming to refuse a higher proportion of asylum applications from Syrians where they can, based on the assessment that many groups are no longer at risk. This will likely lead to increased scrutiny of individual cases by legal representatives.